Hey, hello, welcome. I'm glad you made it. Today is awesome because I am basically showing you my song that sounds a little like a Perry Wayne song. I used his Suicide Boys remix for inspiration, and I honestly was able to make a sick drop with vocals in it. I got some vocals, made them work with the drop. I just want to show you guys some techniques, basically how we can get this done. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I make bass music tutorials, dubstep tings all the time. Let's go ahead and listen to this. Check it out. So I'm gonna cover song arrangement, the drop, kind of how I did these vocals and stuff. I used a freestyle that the Migos did.
Told you think it was Christmas, nigga know that it's up. Working that bitch in the back of the Maybach, I told her to put the seat up. I'm not gonna go to the internet, I'm about that dashing, it's time to meet up. Bump niggas know we not in it, they go get some bigger red, time to eat up. All my young niggas be spinning that, he wants some strike with the gang of D-Up. Not tripping, not woo! Niggas gon' do it cause everyday government pregnant. The news, I started sipping the remedy.
Then we go back to the vocals.
It's time to move right as I'm moving precise. I look at my schedule, no time for no wife. Hit it like crack, go to seal up 3 dice. Hit double tapping, you niggas gon' like it. It's just a little post, you niggas ain't piping. Fitting the strap in the center, one bite. But gets in the cross on an iced out Christ. I put it on God, I put it on life. 3 wheels pulling out the parking lot, bitch, and I'm look like a ride on the goddamn slide. Simple, nigga ain't gonna get popped, it's simple.
Building it up.
Had to go shrimping, working buzz, I had to go trim them. I ain't wanna kill him, so I dipped him. Mama, she said, just lay in the bed, if niggas ain't got no pots to pitch. Back in the day, I was having to act. Young niggas killing their kidneys all tricks. Straight out the mud, they showing the wrist. My diamonds hit, these bitches flinch. I put this shit on, not dripping, not drenched. Finesse in the back like the creep.
Now the main thing I want to show you is the second drop. Because in the second drop, we basically have the vocals playing with the drop. And it's sick. And it reminds me of that Perry Wayne song. So it's really sick. I was inspired by it. So let's just check out how I did it right here.
Bump niggas know we not in it, they go get some bigger red, time to eat up. All my young niggas be spinning that, he wants some strike with the gang of D-Up. My man, I forgot to mention, it's a pandemic. Still running the chickens, whipping that shit in the kitchen. You make a mention of two to make you go missing. I'm do the sneak dissing. I'm starting to think niggas what promise you niggas for business. Why you niggas run out of money, my niggas gon' get it, cause everyday government printing. How you gon' get it? Just send me the act, my niggas are shipping. A million, 20s and 50s and 100s in the flow, look how I swim in it. Don't wanna get popped, don't open the top, you better move militant. They talking about COVID when I heard the news, I started sipping the remedy. If I got an op and you sipping my brothers, then it better be your enemy. Taking them back to the dinner where they wanna know what's working the enemy. Look the tree like a Timberland, they got God and that Kimberly. For the job of these snitching, these niggas be snitching, they acting real. It's time to move right as I'm moving precise. I look at my schedule, no time for no wife.
And there we go. So that's what we're doing. Basically, if you want these like racks and stuff, these reverb racks and all these loud racks and stuff, it's going to be on my Patreon, so you guys can get those goodies there. Otherwise, just watch and I'll show you how I make these things, how I arrange these things, because it's important. And also, I just want to show you some little tricks I did with these basses and vocals. The full vocal processing chains I'll do in a separate video, so you guys can see exactly how I processed these vocals. That'll be in the next video. But let's go ahead and check out the first drop here. In the first drop, we start with some guns. You guys can listen to these guns here. So in my previous gun video, I showed how to like make guns like these. You start with something like this. You actually layer multiple things to get one gun. So that's one layer. And you just resample it. So like this is the first layer. We have a second layer here. Then we have another layer, and then just a random bass layer, and then some high frequencies, like these coins. So make some quick guns, put them in a cool pattern. That's kind of how I started with this drop. Now we also probably have a mute going on right here, so we'll check. All right. So also when it starts, I mute it if it's off. On. So when it mutes, I add in another bass to kind of have better call and response go on. So if we go up to the Vox samples here, we put a little glitch actually from the Neonix Avant sample pack. This glitch has an amp on it to make it loud and a drip TT, make it fat. And that leads us in to the main bass lead, which is the guns. While the guns play, I have these going on the offbeat, like chants going on the offbeat. The sub is going to be my usual Akuma sub, but I resampled it to audio so I can control the fades. We want to be able to make sure the sub is perfect for each gun. The guns group has a disperser, a drip TT. We have a phone filter that's being activated in certain sections, so it's being filtered. So these sections you don't hear all the frequencies, and that's an easy way to transition to the next section. Some frequencies, and we do that right before the next call, and it works very well. EQ's taking out some bad frequencies, adding some more frequencies, Fletcher Munson curve, removing all the ear-piercing frequencies. I do this to really clean things up with this Fletcher Munson curve. Very good. Well at the end, just limiting it. This actually doesn't have to be here because we have the JSD clip, so it's all fine. While the guns are playing, we have to have something in the background. So we have this phone sustain made in Serum, a square with this EQ. If you see here, the LFO1 is affecting the chorus pitch. We have the rate going up. This is controlling. We make it loud. Add frequency shifter, change frequencies, add OTTs, EQs, add some reverbs, wideness, another EQ, and even a tape stop to stop it in certain sections, like over here. So I'm definitely using these tape stops a lot. I'm using these EQs to carve out frequencies, doing these dips, using this Haas effect to make things wide in the stereo field. That's really important. This is really just in the background, you know, low volume. So this is the first phrase. And then we have this like almond break play. And then we have the vocal come back in. Which leads us to the next phrase. Then we have the same call going on, like we mute it again. Then we add cool effects, you know. Then this next phrase, we add a new sustain bass, which becomes the star of the show. Before, the guns were the star, but now we make the sustain the star of the show, and we use the guns just as a supporting bass to the sustain. As you hear, the sustain is literally moving, because without it, it would basically just sound like this. But with the auto pen on,
It's time to move right as I'm moving precise.
Very cool. Full control of your sustain, make it go crazy. You could even copy the auto pan to your sub and make the sub do the exact same thing, and it'll just be a crazy feeling. I didn't necessarily do what I just said in the whole thing, but I did it in some of it. So if we go to the auto pan here, we look at this sub. In this section, we have it going with the sustain. But when I was doing it, I had it all in the rest of this section, but I was like, no, it doesn't sound good. So I just used the resampled sub and I kind of laid it out in a different pattern. This is like a quarter note, like, which feels really good. And it's like stompy. So I'm switching the rhythm of the sub while I'm switching the rhythm of the basses. And sometimes the basses are going with the rhythm of the sub, sometimes they're not. And that just makes it engaging for the listener, definitely. So practice that more often. It's very fun. Basically, when all these end, I add a nice little section where the vocals come back in.
It's time to move right as I'm moving precise. I look at my schedule, no time for no wifey. Hit it like crack on the ceiling, 3 dice. Hit double tap and you nigga gon' like it. It's just a little
simple cymbals and stuff. Add these strings that are in key, but I turned them down an octave. In this section, they come back up to the regular octave. I also use this EQ, it's automated so that we carve out some mud at the beginning, but then we allow it to come back because we don't need it to be out.
It's time to move right as I'm moving precise. I look at my schedule, no time for no wifey. Hit it like crack on the ceiling, 3 dice. Hit double tap and you nigga just a little post.
If you hear this, I wrote this Omnisphere patch. It's in D minor, you know, I'm just playing keys. In the scale, I'll put this on so you can see. I'm just going up, down, up. And I really just pick notes that sound the best. You heard a tape stop. I was on the whole bus.
It's simple, bitch, I'm setting up shop in the middle. Like credentials, do it good, I had to go trim.
Cool little bridge.
I had to go trim. I ain't wanna kill him, so I dipped him. Mama, she said, just lay in the bed. If niggas ain't got no box of piss. Back in the day, I was having to act. Young niggas killing their kidneys off tricks.
And then we bring it back to like the intro. So at the intro, you hear we have these Reese's. We have this bassoon. So I just bring all these elements back after Quavo stops rapping his little shindig.
I put this shit on, not dripping, not trench, finesse in the back like the cringe.
And of course, there's impacts, little voices going up and down, cool effects to lead us to the next section. Now the next build up and the next drop includes takeoff rap.
Go get some bigger and tryna eat up. Mama young nigga, he spinning that, he wants to strike with the gang of D-Up. My man, I forgot to mention, the pandemic, still running the chicken, whipping that shit in the kitchen. Make a mention of Twitter, make you go missing, don't do the sneak dissing. I'm stuck with that niggas, what bad you niggas forget it. Like them niggas run out of money, my niggas don't get it, cause every day government printing. How you gon' get it, just me to acting, my niggas are shit. In the 20s and 50s and 100s, and the flow, look how I swimming it. Don't want to get popped, don't open the top, you better move militant.
Oh, okay. All right. So, in this section, I wanted to add the vocals to play with the drop. In the second drop, I wanted to add more energy. Of course, the vocals are, warped to the correct BPM. I got everything in time beforehand. And then when they're playing, I also am letting the basses not play as much. So if you see here, I mute some of the guns so that we give the vocal space to breathe.
My man, I forgot to mention the pandemic. Still running the chicken, whipping that shit in the kitchen. Make a mention of Twitter, make you go missing. Don't do the sneak dissing. I'm stuck with that niggas, what bad you niggas forget it. Like them niggas.
So I'm really working with this, letting the vocal, kind of be the main star of the show. We also add this tape stop that I showed you earlier to like open up some space for the vocal to breathe as well in that section. Now, these little decisions I make, I kind of would hear the song playing and then I imagine it and I just add it, because you can kind of listen to the song and in certain sections you can imagine it be like less silent and the vocal breathe more. You kind of just want to think of those things while you're producing so you could mix dynamically. But it's very similar to the first drop. Sussy comes back in. Now in this, we had a drip TT. We had a lot of compression with this. We want it to sound crunchy and a little bit thick for the drop compared to the vocals at the beginning, which are just regular. They're loud, they're reverbed, not much heavy compression going on. But in this one, there is.
It's time to move up cause I'm moving precise. I look at my schedule, no time for no wiping. Hit it like crack for the ceiling, 3 dice. Hit double tapping, you niggas gon' like it. It's just a little bonus, you niggas ain't piping. Spinning the strap in the center of my bike. Baguettes in the cross on an iced out Christ. I put it on God, I put it on Lord. Try, silver, nigga ain't gonna get caught. Mill them, had the credentials. Working bloods, I had to go trim them. Mama, she said just lay in the bed. If niggas ain't got no pots to piss. Back in the day, I was having to act. Young niggas killing their kidneys all tricks. Straight out the mud, they showing the wrist. My diamonds sick, these bitches flinch. I put this shit on, I drip and I drench. Finessing the back like the cringe.
Yes, and that is how we get it done. That's how I make a drop with vocals in it, like an inspirational Perry Wayne. He's dope. Go follow him. Go follow me and listen to my music on SoundCloud. And if you want to make things easier for yourself, get on my Discord or get on my Patreon and get the goodies. Otherwise, keep making bangers. Have a good day. Peace out.